Round 8 of the QuickFit British Touring Car Championship. 12 laps ahead of us, lights quickly out, away they blast, and a good getaway by Sutton. Good start by Lloyd, not a mega getaway by Adam Morgan, but on the run down towards riches for the first time, it's Dan Camish. Here comes Sutton, look up the inside of Ingram to try to go second, and Dan Lloyd's ahead of Rowbottom on the inside with a good start by Tom Chilton, getting up into 6th place, and Chilton's another on the softs, don't forget, as the leaders crowd one another, but Sutton has hit the front already from 3rd on the grid. Tremendous first couple of corners. Ash Sutton leads out of the hairpin, and there's the rolling roadblock of 3 cars on the hard tyre. Remember, if you see on that graphic the little turbo indicator go green, big slide there from Ingram, who's in the wall coming off turn 1, clatters the barrier, and he's broken the suspension.
A car that's got less grip, and look, Rowbottom is now going to move past Sutton. Sutton's not going to make this hard for his teammate, he'll just try and follow him, but that was smooth sailing for Rowbottom. Will Sutton try and make it difficult though for Lloyd to get through, because that would really help.
With the drivers behind him having more laps of boost other than Sutton, and of course the correct tyre other than Sutton. Lloyd gets up the inside then and should be able to clear the NAPA Racing forward by turn 1. Up the inside line he goes, the man from Huddersfield, Dan Lloyd, up into 2nd place now. So Dan Lloyd is through at the end of the straight. He's taken the race lead. Dan Lloyd goes by. So the Restart Racing Hyundai up into the lead of the race. Rowbottom won't like that. Comes up to fight on the outside line. Which of the 2 Dans is going to come out of the corner ahead? It is Dan Lloyd then. Lap 8 out of 12. Lloyd leads. Rowbottom down to 2nd. And Dan Lloyd with a good move has gone charging by. Rowbottom fights back then. He's got the pace to fight. Dan Lloyd trying to defend all the way through turn 3, and now the run towards Agostini, and Lloyd covers off the inside line. Rowbottom to the outside line, feels that's worth a chance.
Well, it was the lap that Lloyd had the extra lap of boost. They're both on the same now, so Lloyd used that boost very well to catch Rowbottom unawares and get past.
Rowbottom back up the inside, he's going to retake the lead. Look, coming up towards turn 5, he's done it. So Dan Rowbottom may have lost the lead, but he fights back very nicely. Adam Morgan is right with them as well now. Here comes Morgan up the inside, and he should be able to get past Dan Lloyd by the end of the straight. And he's cleared the black Hyundai, so Morgan goes through, and he's looking very strong indeed. Rowbottom leads, but can he get to the end ahead? The gap is still there between him and Morgan. 1 corner to go. Now up that slight climb towards the timing line. It is going to be in round 8 of the QuickFit British Touring Car Championship. A win for Dan Rowbottom, the 3rd of his career. Rowbottom wins. Morgan is 2nd. 3rd, Tom Chilton, and then 4th and 5th across the line together. Dan Lloyd just ahead of Chris Smiley, who got the best lap of the race. Mikey Doble takes 6th. And that must have been the hardest race of Dan Rowbottom's life, because for all of the 12 laps he was under fire. Dorlin on pole position as the lights go red for the last race of the day. The engine notes rise, the lights go out, it is blast off, and Jake Hill ought to be able to make a good start in the BMW, which he does, away like the stab rat that he should be, round the outside of the Toyota, and Jake Hill goes through into the race lead. The BMW with its rear wheel drive lives up to expectation and leads the way. There was a bit of rough and tumble between the Napa Fords, I think, with Ash Sutton getting crowded out onto the dirt, but Jake Hill leads James Dorlin going up towards the complex. Dorlin gets sideways, but he hangs on to it. That's going to spit him out wide though.
Yeah, good start by Jake Hill. He got that BMW going. I did watch Sutton start, and Ingram did exactly what I thought and pulled straight across in front of him to block him off.
Here they come then across the line at the end of the opening lap. So Jake Hill leads the way from Dan Rowbottom as a cheeky look up the inside there. That was Dorlin against Camish, but Camish hangs on to the place, and Dorlin now loses momentum coming out the other side of the corner. That means that Ingram goes past him. Sutton's going to attack as well, but it's Hill versus Rowbottom. Now remember, in the earlier race they were trading places.
Rowbottom setting up this key manoeuvre that he does coming through the complex. He's got that one absolutely nailed. He forces Hill to defend into the first right-hander, hangs it back through the left, and then fires it up the inside. It's such a cool manoeuvre.
Now, because of that safety car period, and here comes Camish on the attack. All of this is protecting Rowbottom, but Camish has done it. Round the outside, he goes 2nd. Great move.
That was a brilliant move. Really pulled off with precision. So he can go faster.
Sutton, Lloyd, Patterson all being warned about track limits. This is Camish now having to think about defending from Ingram for 3rd place rather than attack. But look, Hill's getting closer to Rowbottom again through the chicane. The wheel lifting forward of Camish is right there ahead of Ingram. Sutton is next up, so Ingram's on the attack, he's on the defence as well. The leaders go by. 7/10 becomes half a second. And Jake Hill still has 2 more laps of boost available than does Rowbottom. This is building up really nicely.
It certainly is. The gap is splitting between them. Look at Sutton, he's looking a bit more urgent now. Looks at the outside, then cuts back to the inside. Is he going to do a Rowbottom and all the way around the... He's teeing it up, and he's done it. Oh, side by side, they clash. Ingram gets wide on the grass. He'll have to lift off. That advantage the Hyundai gets over Camish.
Indeed so, for second place. Round the outside goes Ingram then, up into second spot, but he's going to run out of laps to do anything about Rowbottom. Camish then falls back behind, so Rowbottom leads now from Ingram, and that margin that was 1.7 is up to 2.1 with a lap to go. It's almost game over in terms of any more places gained for Ingram, because the gap is just too great unless there's a problem for the race leading Ford. But it's been a good charge and more points for Tom Ingram. A win earlier on in the day. Home and dry. Down towards the chicane he comes. We've got Josh Cook having just broken into the top 10, by the way. But Dan Rowbottom it is who comes into the chicane as the final race leader, soon to be race winner of the day. He's about to accelerate his way now up towards the timing line. Dan Rowbottom wins at Thruxton. A second win of the season for Dan Rowbottom. Second goes the way of Tom Ingram. Third across the line, Dan Camish. Senna Proctor is fourth.